We're going to meet Patty today. We're very excited. She has a really, really wonderful story, and just sort of hear about what she has to do with Lastics. And yeah, okay, I see her in the room. Hold on. Is it working? There she is!
Hi!
Yay! We did it! We're so tech savvy. Oh, the things I'm learning in quarantine.
I know, right? I've never really done Lastics chats and Lastics Live and IG Live, so yeah, all new.
A whole new world. Lots of things. Well, welcome to Instagram Live. It's a great time, and I guess let's get started. So, my first question for you is, I would love it if you could tell everybody a little bit like how you met Donna and sort of how all of this started, because you've been here from the beginning, the very, very beginning, haven't you?
Yes, I have. So, Donna and I, believe it or not, met on Wall Street back in the day. And yes, so we were in corporate. And after that, we started our own HR company, which was Pre-Lastics. And at that time, I became pregnant, and we were doing computer work and, working away. And I was, starting to feel tight. So I got up and I started to stretch. And Donna just kind of looked at me and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm stretching." And I think I was doing some kind of hamstring stretch. and so this is all before Elastics as we know it today. But Donna still has her dance training, and she still has her eye on form, and
her magic all-seeing eye.
Her eye, exactly. And so she said, try to, straighten that, relax this, don't bend that. And so, so I said, okay, I'll do that. And I was like, ooh, well, that stretch feels different. And, because I was pregnant at the time, I really couldn't do much in terms of activity. And I like to be active. I like to, either, like you, I was not necessarily an athlete, but I played tennis in high school. As I got older, you were a skier, I was a snowboarder. And
don't tell my dad that.
I won't.
He would never do with me fraternizing with a snowboarder.
So there was none of that when I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. So as I'm stretching and I want to stay active, after a couple of weeks, I was like, "Donna, look at my calves." And I pointed, and my calf was so defined. And I said, "I haven't been doing anything else but stretching." And we were both like gobsmacked, jaws on the floor kind of thing. So that was for me, wow, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. I didn't know that. I didn't it's so fun. I love these little get to know the teachers, because I really feel like I'm actually getting to know so much more about everybody, just that we just get to hear the stories. So that's so cool. So then you sort of noticed a change, and then throughout the rest of your pregnancy, what was it? Was there anything specifically about Lastics that made it easier to do while you were pregnant?
Oh, yes. I mean, definitely. Just because it's so gentle, and because, we're not using anything external to push us or force us. It's just all in our bodies. So I was able to listen to my body and say, okay, this is enough, or I can go a little bit more. So it was really great to be able to do it on my own time and on my own terms, which is what I loved so much about it in the beginning, because truly it is for everyone. Although if you are pregnant, definitely make sure that your doctor says it's fine to do these things. But yeah, I noticed for me, my flexibility as I was pregnant was changing.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. If you don't mind me asking, did you feel like you had easy pregnancies, or were they a little, did you have a few moments of scary?
It was easy. I was lucky. Um, Pregnancy was easy, delivery was hard.
I don't think
But
anybody's like deliveries. It was a breeze. It was like I barely felt anything.
right. Um, yeah. So yes. I was lucky in that way, and I was lucky to be able to still, um, I guess, prepare my body for delivery as I was pregnant. Because, me personally, I didn't have any of the like an epidural, so I did it completely natural. But physically, I needed to be strong and to be able to, to stretch and kind of keep my muscle tone and my body in a somewhat, condition I was used to. It
Yeah.
was good.
Mhm. Mhm. That's amazing. Then what led it into becoming what it is now? Can you talk a little bit about how it went from, you stretching in at Wall Street to us being in all of the amazing dance studios?
Yeah, it's amazing to see how this has grown.
How did it go from just Donna helping you into a real company and then into a real class that could go into
Right,
schools?
right. Sorry about that. So I've had two kids. So it wasn't until the second where we've realized 50% of the workforce went on maternity leave with our first company when I had my first child. So coming back around with my second child, Donna said, let's try something different. She was already teaching at Joffrey Ballet School. So it was kind of starting to come together at that point. And it wasn't until my second child, when I went out again, when she was like, you know what, let me give a full go of this and see where the technique can take us. So that was really the beginnings of it, where organic, homespun, let me stretch you or show you what you should or shouldn't do, into her going to the dance school, first Joffrey in New York, people loving it and saying, can I get this anywhere else? Do you teach in England? Do you teach in California? And that's kind of how the videos came about. And once that started to grow, we became more popular, went into the dance schools, and then you instructors were taking her classes and was like, oh my goodness, this is so different, and I want to become involved. So that's the general evolution of this technique. So for me, yes, it's been crazy amazing to watch it grow from where it was to now.
Mm-hmm. That's so special. Um, so what exactly would you define your role on the Lastics team as? Maybe for people who just haven't seen your face yet, like who are you? Who are you in the Lastics?
Who is Patty?
Who is Patty?
Right. So people know me probably more by name and email,
Mm-hmm.
because I am more of the back person in terms of, I do all the technology, I handle website and the e-commerce. I'm not in front facing the way you are in teaching students, although I have subbed back in the day when we were still in studio. So I've had the honor and the pleasure to be in the studio and to actually um, teach people the technique, which is very special to see other people get so much out of it. So for me, that's not my primary role. My primary role is more behind the stage. I'm tech crew. I'm lighting. I'm audio.
Everything. The
Yeah.
woman who wears all the hats. Absolutely. Well, I know that it's always a relief if ever I have a problem. I know that you can fix it. It's so good. You're amazing. Everything that you do is so great. Like I remember over the summer, we were all like, "Can we have Lastics emails?" And you were like, "Absolutely." And then in like a day, we all had Lastics emails. We're super official, and we're like, "Oh, cool. That's awesome. So great." So like in your world, what does Lastics do for you? The stretch technique itself. I mean, like your kids are a little older now, like what does the technique still give you?
So I've always been doing it on my own since day one, once Donna showed me exactly what it was she was looking for in a stretch. And, you know, one of the jokes was when I remember I was in second position. This is when I was still pregnant. And we're stretching, or I'm stretching, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my stomach is on the floor. And we were like, oh, great. Is it because we're stretching or because you're just getting bigger? So we haven't figured that out yet for that point in time. However, I can tell you that years later, after my kids were born and they've grown up a little bit, I was in a class and we were in second, and Donna was looked over at me and she said, "Oh my God, Patty, look at how close you are to the floor." And I said, "Holy cow!" And I wasn't pregnant.
Yes.
So yes, and so for me now, I just get up and say, you know what, I need to just move around. And it could be as simple as getting up from my chair and just doing something really simple, or I could be waiting online at the store and very subtly we'll be doing a stretch where I'm not really drawing attention to me, but I know exactly which parts of my body to hold and which parts to, you know, extend out and release. So it's part of my everyday life, even if I'm not in class every day and doing the entire 1 hour workout, but I just do the technique in the little ways I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what if you had to describe it? I know this is a really hard question to answer, but if you had to describe it, what would you say? What is it about Lastics that makes it so different to everything else that's in out there in this sort of world?
For me personally, I love that it's really accessible to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of our instructors have serious trained dance backgrounds. Um, I haven't, although you know I had like almost every little kid taking dance lessons.
Yeah, especially every little girl.
Every little girl in the suburbs, exactly.
Get on that pink tutu, because
Yes.
that's what you do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I did that, and I love that even though like I watch all of our instructors and you guys do crazy things with your body, I love that I know I don't look like you guys, but I can still get this amazing stretch and feel like I am stretching the way you guys are stretching, and we're getting the same technique and the same results. It might look different on me, but it's the same.
Mm-hmm. It's about what it feels like, not what it looks like.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I just love hearing that. My final question for you
Sure.
is, what is your favorite Lastics stretch? You can only pick one. Which one's your favorite?
Okay. Hands down, it's the hip stretch. When you go like this with your legs, I don't know if you can see me, but you're sitting crisscross and you're flat back going over like a book.
Yeah.
Closing like a book. Oh my gosh, that really gets into my hips the way nothing else can. And the way that Lastics teaches it in terms of subtly moving certain parts of your body, I can hit different points of my hips that way, and without really doing anything crazy with them.
Yeah. I think that's just it's such a micro movement.
Yes.
And micro engagement, and like I'm so glad I've gotten to I don't even know if that's a word. I'm so glad I've had the chance to watch Donna watch other people, because it is so subtle, it is so small that it takes a really long time to even just see it. And some of them we can't see really very much at all, but after a while, once you've done it enough and you've watched it enough, then you start to see even those little baby micro things, and you see the reaction in the rest of the body from that little baby movement. And that's just so amazing that something so small can make such a big difference, and you can feel it and you can see it in other people.
Absolutely.
So cool.
I love it.
Just
and
such
I love
a big spot. Mm-hmm.
And I love that we're doing the Meet the Teacher series, even though I'm not technically a teacher, but I love listening and watching all of you guys explain what that moment was for you. So for me, this has been so enlightening and just amazing just to hear like, wow, everybody takes away something completely different from
Yeah.
this technique.
Yeah. I think that's the best part is everybody is so different, just like you said. And some of us come from very serious dance backgrounds, and other people are coming because of injury, and other people are coming because they just need to stretch and want to take care of their bodies. And yet every single person walks away with something. That is such an amazing phenomenon. And it's been such a privilege to be a part of. And so thank you so much for all that you've done to make this
Oh,
a reality for so
thank
many
you.
people, because we wouldn't be here without you. And so just thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. And it's mutual because we wouldn't be here without you, Emma.
I'm glad we're all a team. We all work
We
together.
are.
It's so great. Well, it was wonderful to meet you on Instagram as much
Thank
as
you.
we can. And yeah, that's all of the questions that I had. And I'm so glad I got to do this.
Thanks, Emma. And if anybody out there has any questions, or if you're watching it after the fact, just pop it down below in the comments, and we'll answer them right away.